Sniping is in a weird spot in Escape from Tarkov. A lot of times the game is pushing you more towards using full auto weapons or semi-auto weapons like DMRs over something like a bolt action. But if you really like the playstyle, if you really like sniping, or if you're looking for something more budget conscious than a full auto weapon or a DMR or something like that, then there is a sniper rifle in the game that's often very overlooked and in my opinion is very capable of dropping just about any enemy. I'm Jessekazam. Welcome back to another Escape from Tarkov video. I stream Escape from Tarkov on Twitch. All my links will be down below. And if you've been around here for a while and you're looking for the podcast, a podcast that I host with Veritas, another Escape from Tarkov content creator, that has moved to our own YouTube channel. So that link is down below. If you want to go check that out and drop a sub over there, that would be awesome. If you like this video, think about dropping a like, commenting down below, or subscribing to the channel for more content like this. That stuff helps me out a ton. But with all this stuff out of the way, let's go ahead and dive right into the video. So I've really loved doing this whole cheap Chad destroyers series. It's been super fun because it causes me to look at guns that I haven't looked at in a long time and see that there's a lot that you can be really proficient with. And in this video, we're talking about the SV98. So right out of the gate, this is one of the most overlooked and underutilized sniper rifles in the game because for a really, really long time, there was a trigger delay, which actually basically what that is there was a fair bit of latency from when you would click your mouse one and when the shot would actually happen. There's people speculated because there's a little bit of trigger delay on real life on the SV98. Some people said it was a bug. All that matters is that it made the gun not unusable, but not something that was preferred, especially once the Mosin came in because the Mosin shoots the same ammunition. So this basically just went completely null and void and nobody really used it. Well, they've since fixed that. And I think that this gun is awesome and super fun to use. And as we'll see, pretty affordable as well. So, I mean, it's a bolt action sniper rifle. That's pretty self-explanatory. We're not looking at things like stats so much here. It's not inherently crazily moddable or anything like that. But all that kind of fits this perfect, cheap budget Chad destroyer, something that you can quickly gear up with that's not too expensive. So you're not going to be buying all sorts of mods or chassis or anything for this. It's a bolty. You just kind of grab your ammo and go. So it comes stock standard looking like this with a compensator, a rear sight, and a 10-round magazine. These are purchasable. They're pretty inexpensive. You can buy them on the flea market for about $35K and they sell from Prapor for $35K. So once again, this video probably won't inflate the prices because you can purchase them from a trader. You can buy 4 per reset, which I guess is reasonable. I don't understand this. It's not like anybody's abusing game mechanics if they needed to buy 10 of these in a reset, but whatever. You can buy 4 in a reset and they're not too expensive if you died 4 times before proper reset. So $35K for the bolty is really affordable. The other bolt action that shoots the same ammo is the Mosin. And the Mosin is basically one of the widest used bolt actions in the game. And it's traditionally more expensive, even on the flea market. So this is less than you would buy from the trader. They're in the 40 to 50,000 ruble range, and Proper sells the Mosin bolt action for 56. You can get the infantry, which you start to get into the confusing territory of which one you can put scopes on and not. And even this is often around that same price. And if you wanted to buy it from the trader, then you're up there in the higher price point as well. So the SV98 coming in at a $35K, something that you can count on. It's consistent and it's as modular as it can be. There's only one version, right? You don't have all sorts of different Mosin like stocks and stuff. Some you can put the PU scope on, some that you can't. This is just, you buy the one gun and you can do what you want to do to it. And that's it. You can suppress this by purchasing a thread adapter for about 5,000 rubles and the suppressor for about 40,000 rubles. So it's definitely not super cheap, but that's trader prices. And on the flea, you can get it a little bit cheaper. So that's something once again, these things aren't like in high demand. So I don't think the value is going to skyrocket, but you can get it for about 40,000 rubles from Prapor as well. And the thread adapter from him. And then you just take off the compensator and boom, suppressed. It's pretty quiet. Sounds cool. If you want to put a bigger optic on it, I've actually seen people run like red dots on this, especially for that quest where you have to get bolt action kills close range, you can just throw a red dot on there or a hollow or something if you want. If you want to put a bigger optic on, you can put like a Valde or an Elcan. You can take off the rear sight and now put something more like a, you know, a Voodoo or a Burris or a March Tactical, like a more sniper scope. What's nice about this, I normally prefer magazine-fed weapons as opposed to top-loaded weapons. So like the Mosin is basically just top-load because the reload animation, especially if you're all the way down, is so long and then canceling it and you might only have 1 or 2 shots, whereas just swapping out a mag and it's a 10-round mag just kind of, at least in my opinion, makes life a little bit easier. I get why it's kind of nice because if you only shoot once or twice and you can just top load, but if you're really taking shots at somebody and get down to 0, I find just reloading to another 10-round mag is pretty nice in my opinion. 10-round mag is a great capacity for a bolt action rifle, you know what I mean? You're not going to be spamming this down, and they're cheap mags, 4,000 rubles from Papor, and there's no limit on these, so that is really nice. So that's the SV98. Now we got to talk about what ammo it shoots, because we know in Tarkov that this is basically everything. The most important part about a gun is what ammo it shoots. So it shoots the 7.62 by 54R, which, like we said, is the same bullet that the Mosin shoots and the same bullet that the SVD shoots. So we'll start with like the most popular, one of the most popular rounds is 7N1. You can purchase this for 800 rubles from Papor as well. You can only buy 180 at a time, which when we're talking about out of a bolt action, that's 180 shots. That's a pretty decent amount. Now, the reason that this sits as oftentimes the most commonly used round is because it has 45 pen and 86 damage. So we can go back over here to the health tab and see the thorax has 85 health. When they moved the amount of health in your thorax from 80 to 85, or maybe it was 75 to 85, when they moved it up to 85, that rendered almost every single round in the bolt action category, whether it's 308 or 7.62 by 54R, not able to one-tap a thorax. And that was kind of the point, because at the time, everybody was just getting one-tapped by bolties and DMRs left and right. So whether you agree or disagree with that change, that doesn't matter. But 7N1 is one of the only rounds in the game, especially being able to shoot out of a bolty, that has 86 flesh damage. And it's got 45 pen. So that means if your enemy is wearing class 4 or below, generally speaking, you will be able to one-tap them center of mass, one-tap them to the thorax. So that is often why, especially in the early to mid game, this round is used so often, because you can absolutely just one-tap people and kind of shred through that class 4 armor. So 7N1, 800 rubles a round, especially in the current economy when we're talking about buying things like FMJ, which is the second best MP7 round for like 2,000 rubles around, 3,000 rubles around if the trader's out of stock. The Tarkov world we live in, 800 rubles around is not that expensive, especially when you consider you're sending this out of a bolt action. You can have your 10-round mag, one singular additional 10-round mag, and then the rest of your rounds in your secure container. That's really not bad. And even the fact that the aftermarket prices are so close to the regular prices. Some other things to mention, 7BT1, if you like tracers. When I'm sniping, I personally like tracers because I like to know where my bullets are coming from. A lot of people are really against tracers because they give your position away. I've been killed a lot of times in Escape from Tarkov, and I don't feel like the tracers have helped me identify exactly where somebody is, like exactly what sniper hole. If anything, it's more just, it's that direction. And you can always just rotate. If you're concerned about it, use something else, but 7BT1 is pretty nice. I like to be able to, I like being able to see where my shots are going when I'm sniping. This has 59 pen and 78 damage. So 59 pen means this is going to pen class 6 armor most of the time, which class 6 helmets are very, very not utilized. So given that you can't one-tap the thorax, if you're going for headshots, you're well in the range there. 78 damage is a pretty decent amount. You can purchase this from Papor level 4. It's about 1,000 rubles around from him. You can buy you know, again, a little bit cheaper off the flea market, but you're going to be in that 1,000 rubles a round range, 120 rounds. Once again, though, when we're talking about only needing to bring maybe 40 total rounds into a raid, if you're sniping 40 or 50, that's not nearly as bad. The next, probably the most utilized round here is SNB. SNB is dirt cheap, and I don't really understand why, but SNB is 62 pen and 75 damage. So we're once again well within that 62 pen. Class 6 armor is the best armor in the game. Armor is basically useless at this point. Armor is basically just butter. It has 75 flesh damage, which is the least amount of the ones I'm going to mention, but it's not as long if you can't one tap the thorax. If you have 84 or under, it doesn't really matter between 84 and 76 because you're gonna have to two tap anyway, even with 84, unless you get a frag or something like that. So at 75 flesh damage, 62 pen, it's dirt cheap. If you don't need a tracer and you are going to hit your shots and you don't want to spend the money on the 7-1, something like that, or the reason this is utilized a lot is because this just completely renders armor useless. And if you're going for center of mass shots and you feel like most of the people are going to be wearing class 5 or 6 armor, this is very useful because if they're wearing class 5 armor, you lose that one tap ability from the 7-1 because it only has 45 pen. It's really the class 4 or below where you're going to be able to one tap the thorax. Anything above that, the round might not pen, and then of course you're not going to get that. So SNB is just be 62 pen. You're just kind of shredding through anything. It's very, very cheap. I think it's about 800 rubles around from Proper level 4. And that's where I believe, let's see. Yeah, SMB. So it's 818 rubles around from Proper. But if you've got the flea market, then you don't really need to worry about that. Even if this inflates once again to like 700 rubles around or something like that, that's still, in my opinion, very worth it. Again, because you're only shooting it from a bolt action rifle. And then the only other one that I will mention is the LPS. So the LPS is like, this is the one you get from level 1. You can get this day 1 of the wipe, level 1 proper. If you get any sort of Mosin SV98, you can grab LPS. It's dirt cheap. Proper sells it for about 460 rubles at level 1. Now, right now, you can get it for almost half that off the flea market. LPS has 42 pen and 81 damage. So you're still in that class 4 armor. You're going to be hitting right through it and penning it really easy. 81 damage is quite a bit of flesh damage. You still need to go for the 2-tap though. This ammo really does fall apart though in the mid to late wipe once you start seeing people run, a lot more people running class 5 armors and above. This is where this round is really going to struggle as well, similarly to the 7-1. As soon as you can get your hands on 7-1, there's really not a whole point to be using this because 7-1 is not that much more expensive. I guess it's a few times more expensive, but because you're buying so few and you get the 1-tap potential. But this is definitely a great budget round. So that's kind of the SV98. The SV98 is a simple, just stock standard bolt action sniper rifle. And like we talked about before, the game oftentimes pushes us towards something like a DMR or something like that over a bolt action or using full auto weapons, which is totally understandable. But if you're trying to get your sniper quests done, the Tarkov shooter quests where you need to use bolt actions, or if you just like using bolt actions like I do often, I love running a bolty with either an MP7, an MP9, an MP5, some sort of SMG bolt action combo. It's super fun on maps like Reserve or Woods. The SV98 is a great gun and definitely a valuable player in that space now that they fixed that trigger delay. You can compare it to something like the SVD, because we talked about how it's a little bit cheaper than the Mosin, but the SVD is going to be the, the DMR version where you can just spam shots. It's got 20 round mags, and as fast as you can click, this thing will shoot. This is a magnitude of almost 3 times the price. You can get them for around 90 to 95 on the flea market. Proper sells them for 95,000 rubles. And then you're going to be spending some money modding it out. If you want it suppressed, the ergonomics of an SVD are really, really, really bad. You can use the cheap like Cobra mounts, but if you want to kind of go all out on this thing and mod it out, it's going to be expensive, and the ergo penalty is pretty insane. So the SV98 actually, I think, has a place. It's got the ammo that can one tap, and it's a pretty significantly cheaper than its, DMR counterpart. So that's kind of it. Simple gun. It's fun to use. I know a lot of people like to snipe in Escape from Tarkov, so definitely give this a go. I like looking at the game through different lenses, looking at guns that aren't often utilized. You can absolutely wreck some people with some headshots with some really cheap rounds out of a fairly cheap gun, and have a lot of fun. So try it out. Let me know down below the comments what you think about the SV98, and hopefully this is another gun that you can use to kill some more PMCs and have some fun in Escape from Tarkov. Thank you so much, as always, for taking the time to check out this video. If you liked the video, think about dropping a like, commenting down below, or subscribing to the channel. All that stuff helps me out a ton. Like we said before, I stream Escape from Tarkov on Twitch. All my links will be down below. And if you're looking for people to play Tarkov with, our Discord community is an awesome place to be. That link is down below as well. Thank you again for stopping by, and I will definitely see y'all on the next one.